Okay, I gotta call my aunt, so I gotta get this video done. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamika. This is Library of Tomes, where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life. Hi, welcome back. I hope you're doing great. Today I'm going to be giving you some enemies to lovers romance recommendations. These are a little more popular books, not all of them. I'm gonna throw some obvious ones in there, but I hope y'all enjoy them. I really love enemies to lovers, hate to love, and dislike to love. They all kind of work the same in my opinion. If you don't like that, I'm sorry. I classify them pretty much kind of the same. I will differentiate on if it's more dislike or more hate, but I do really love this trope. I love this idea, like this dynamic. So let's get started. To get the most obvious one out of the way, I've got The Black Fox by Brianna Hale, which I will not stop recommending. This is a step-family romance, stepfather, stepdaughter, daddy dom romance. This is a very steamy, smutty, good time. This is just dirty. It's just quick and fun, dirty smut. They hate each other. The daughter comes home from school. The father has married her mother, and her mother and her father, like her stepfather Zacharias, have no actual feelings for one another. It's a marriage of convenience. And Lolita, our heroine, ends up falling for her stepfather. It's not immediate. She actually has a very strong attraction to the Black Fox, who Zacharias has retired himself as. Like, he was the Black Fox. He like fought crime and like hurt criminals, and he retired that persona, and she is in love with the Black Fox and not Zacharias, and they actually have a hate to love relationship. He has a very instant attraction to her. She hates him. So it's very fun. Love the smut. Love the steam. It is so good. I just highly enjoy Brianna Hale. Obviously, I'm never going to stop recommending Brianna Hale. I absolutely love this. If you want a quick, fun, dirty time, check this out. Like, seriously, I freaking love this book. And this is not going to be for everyone. This is definitely like if you just really want some quick and dirty smut, check this out. I love Zacharias. He's my favorite daddy Brianna's ever written. He puts a belt around her throat at some point, so keep that in mind. It's very good. So then we have Falling for the Playboy by Kennedy Fox. This was actually renamed. This was actually renamed to Make Me Crazy. This follows a author's assistant, so an assistant for an author, and the cover model for her books. And the author has said that there's absolutely no relationship that's allowed to be between these two, but she has to drive the cover model, the assistant has to drive the cover model from Texas to somewhere else. So there's a very long road trip where they're in this book. This is more of a slow burn where they're fighting their attraction to one another, and she just decides that he's like a playboy. She doesn't really like him. She is very type A, very much like has to be in control of everything, and he is absolutely not like that, and he tries to like disrupt her in any way he can, trying to get under her nerves, get under her skin with the shenanigans he kind of pulls in order to make the trip more entertaining for him and like kind of poke at her a little bit. It's definitely more dislike to love than hate or enemies to lovers. This one is definitely more of a situation where it's like she is more irritated and annoyed and like dislikes him rather than the other way around. It is definitely more like she is very much not interested in him and very absolutely not, like, this will never happen. I would never date someone like him kind of situation. And he has already kind of like came around to the idea. So that's more of what's happening in this one. I really enjoy the characters in this one. I really enjoy the way Kennedy Fox writes. This is an author duo and I just really love them. And honestly, the audiobook was fantastic. It was just really good. Like, I would say it's more of a slow burn, but the steam was still pretty on page. It was still pretty good, and I just highly enjoyed the story. Honestly, I just thought it was so much fun, and I just think this is a fun time for anyone who wants to just get a more dislike to love situation than anything, and a forced proximity kind of romance, because that's definitely what this was too. So next up I have Hotshot Doc by R.S. Gray, which I really loved this. This was a medical romance, and again, this is more of dislike to love rather than enemies. This is a very grumpy hero, so it's more grumpy sunshine, and the hero is very grumpy and he's very much like the hardest guy to work for. He is absolutely miserable, and none of the interns like to actually work for him, or they're not interns, they're surgical assistants. They do not like to work for him. So she goes in with a very poor expectation, and he also goes in with a poor expectation because he is so particular about everything, and he is like so closed off to the idea of falling in love love or anything like that. So they have a very interesting like dynamic where neither of them are happy to be around one another. They don't want to be around one another. They don't want to talk to each other. They don't want to work together. They don't want to give the other one a chance, and they are slowly realizing that they enjoy being around each other and they enjoy working together, and that they can actually, you know, they're not what the other one expected. It's very cute. So our heroine ends up becoming a surgical assistant for this doctor who is like absolutely horrible to work for. He runs off all of his assistants, and her surgeon is actually retiring, so she needs a new surgeon. She is taking care of her sister because both of her parents have passed away, and it was just a really cute story. The dynamics between them were adorable, and I loved them. I loved the way they interacted, and I loved the slow breakdown of their walls. It was so cute. So if you want a medical romance that is enemies to lovers, please read this one because it was just so cute. So next I'm going to recommend a paranormal, and this is Wicked Deeds on a Winter's Night. This is book 3 in the Immortals After Dark series, and how would you be shocked if I forgot the names, because I have. So this follows our hero who thinks his mate was murdered, who thinks his mate was killed, so he does not have a mate anymore, and he is a like-a and he does not like witches, and lo and behold, this woman is a witch, and he is pissed. He believes that his mate was reincarnated into her because he is feeling urges that he should only feel towards his mate, toward his fated mate, and he just is so against the idea. He hates her. He hates everything she stands for. He hates that she's a witch. He hates magic. He hates all of it because his family was wronged by witches. And lo and behold, she's his mate, and he has to deal with that. And it is like true enemies to lovers. Like, they hate each other. They do not want anything to do with one another. They do not want to like deal with it, and they can't resist like the fact that they are fated mates. And it is just so adorable. I think they are enemies all the way up until like 60 or 70% through the book, and you're just like, can you all please give in already? It was so cute though, and it was so adorable because like once they got past the enemies parts, it was like full speed ahead, but it was like a slow getting out of the enemies parts. Like, it was like really trucking out of there, getting out of the enemies sections of this, but it was just so good. So yeah, and you can read that one out of order. Like, you can read, like, just jump into the first to the third book of the Immortals After Dark and be a-okay. Like, you don't need the setup for the other 2 books. It's absolutely amazing. Loved it. All right, and then the last one is a very popular one, and I'm sorry about it, but it's The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I had to bring this one in here because I just freaking love Mia Sosa, and I loved this book. This was one of my favorite books that I read last year. It was so good. I mean, it wasn't one of my favorite books, but it was definitely one of my favorite books that I had read and talked about last year. This one is following our heroine, who is a wedding planner, and she has actually been stood up at the altar, and she is trying to get this gig with this very more stable like company to like be the full-time wedding planner, just because it would be more stable for her, and she's trying to get this position. And her husband, like her ex-husband, the one that was supposed to marry her, actually left the altar and left her because of something that his brother had said. So the best man had gotten drunk and said something at the wedding to make him want to like leave. So she ends up having to work for the brother who made her fiance leave her at the altar. So it is so good because she hates him so much and she blames him so much for like all of the issues. And like, he's not really on the enemy side. He's more of the like, I want to try to fix this. Like, let's make this work so that we can work together and like get these things that we both want. But like, also, I don't know what I said. I'm sorry, I was drunk. Like, I don't know what happened. I know that you blame me for all of this. And she's just like, I hate you. I don't want anything to do with you. And like, they eventually are like, okay, we'll work together just to get this common goal that we want. And they eventually just fall in love. And it's so good. I loved it. Oh my God. If you've not read this book, please get on it. It is so good. I love Mia Sosa. It was so cute and so adorable. And I loved it so much. So those are all of the enemies to lovers recommendations that I have for you. If you have any enemies to lovers recommendations, leave them in the comments down below. I would love to get to them. And leave me a flame, like a little fire flame. Leave me one of those down in the comments. That's the kind of emoji that I want this time. So leave me that emoji and I will chat with y'all in my next video. Bye everyone.